I think it could be a bit harder when it's full of poop.
With everything ready inside, it's time to block out the oxygen and seal up the digester.
Ooh, nice and solid. I'm going to hear you.
Next, they need to think about storing all the biogas the bacteria will provide. They want a second container to act as a massive gas storage tank. And of course, Andy knows a man who knows a man who may have just what they're looking for.
That is big. Yeah, come on.
It is big and quite obviously heavy. It's just whether it is actually big enough.
Mate, we couldn't handle anything bigger than that.
My view is we can't go too big.
Jem wants to be sure that they can store up plenty of biogas to power the grain dryer. But this tank is a serious heavyweight and could be very hard to handle.
This is as much gas as he's going to get.
I think you're right, we can't handle anything bigger. We'll take it, if we can afford it.
This old tank weighs about 2 tons and has a volume of around 20 cubic meters. That's similar to a small removal van. Filling it with biogas could take up to 3 weeks.
Trying to fill this up with gas is going to be a good challenge, yeah? Here he is.
Wow, boys! Oh, we're not there, eh? We be here.
It looks bigger now, mate.
It does look bigger, doesn't it? Yeah, fair old tool, that, isn't it?
Dwarfed by the tank, the team stand back and take a reality check. It's now clear that this massive chunk of metal could hold a huge amount of gas.
Now, I have got a bit of a concern about it, because, you know, this is quite explosive stuff, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Methane will explode on ignition if it contains enough air. So it's vital that the tank has no holes. And there's only one way to check.
This wasn't how I imagined I'd start my potholing career.
Mate, this is not nice.
And leaks aren't the only hazard. They're horrified by the thick glutinous oil oozing out of the tank.
I mean, that's what's just dripped out while we've had it sat there overnight.
It is dodgy.
That's a bit of an environmental disaster zone. Right, I'm going to go in there and see what it looks like.
It's a filthy, stinking job, but somebody's got to do it. It's clear who's drawn the short straw. Dick stands well back. As Jem explores the oily chamber, Dick is poised to help out. It seems the storage tank doesn't contain any unexpected holes, and Jem thinks he can deal with the oil.
You can scrape it off.
Good.
I reckon we can get the worst off with that, and then we'll have to look at some sort of jet wash, pressure wash thing. You're not taking me seriously enough nowadays.
Jem's got a long, unpleasant job on his hands, scraping off the tar-like oil. But it's clearly a one-man job, freeing up Dick to get on with all those other vital tasks.
Definitely rather him than me.
Although the tank seems leak-proof, Dick and Jem are taking no chances with their potentially explosive gas plant. They've come up with an additional safety feature.
These look brilliant, mate. Look at this.
They're proposing to build a massive water safety bath using some old metal panels. This will allow them to completely submerge the gas storage tank.
It's good to me. Yeah, that'll take a curve.
We can see that, can't we?
It was busy enough.
They'll place the gas storage tank in a water bath, and by filling it up to the top, the water will push out all the air. Biogas produced in the digester will then bubble into the storage tank and gradually push out the water. Because no more air can make its way in, the risk of explosion is minimised.
So the middle of the tank's in the middle of the hard?
Yep.
Dick and Jem start marking out the shape of the water bath. They don't want it any bigger than necessary because the sheer weight of all that water could crack the concrete floor. But it does have to be large enough to fully submerge the storage tank. So Andy enlists some extra help. His teenage sons are no strangers to hard work. They're well used to helping run the farm and are happy to get their hands dirty. With 3 panels in position, the water bath is soon taking shape. Late afternoon. As the rain pours down, the bath slowly goes up.
Sticking on a nut and bolting.
This looks spot on. And you say it doesn't leak?
He's got a fiver on it.
He's got a tenner on it.
Yeah, he's got a fiver for each of us.
To help make sure the water bath doesn't leak at the bottom, they seal it with a layer of concrete.
Boys, we've got to get this down as quick as we can, otherwise we'll be swimming in it.
Next, they start some metal braces to strengthen the sides.
Any adjustments?
By the end of the day, Project Biogas is looking well underway. But there are some very dark clouds on the horizon. In the cold light of day, Dick and Jem now have doubts about the strength of the bath.
It's not going to keep that shape, and it's going to crack the concrete at the bottom,
And then we're going to
the
leak.
water's going to go.
They went for a rectangular bath to minimise the water needed to fill it.
Just like normal.
The drawback is that it requires major strengthening to cope with the intense pressure on the sides. And they've just found out Andy doesn't have enough heavy-duty steel.
We can make it strong enough if we build it heavy enough, but, like, I don't think we've got the bits here to actually do it.
Whichever way we do it now, we've got to have a round tank.
They initially ruled out a round bath because despite its inherent strength, the vast amount of water needed to fill it could crack the concrete floor. But if they now want a round bath, there's just one drastic solution. They're going to have to cut their storage tank in 2 and place one half upside down in a smaller round bath. The gas will bubble in at the bottom, causing the inner tank to float up. This will reduce the amount of gas they can store, but it's their only option, given the time and materials available.
Could I borrow your cup a sec? There's our tank, and then in a matter of hours, get rid of one half, keep the other half, put it into this, make this round, and then as the gas comes in, it creeps up, and then the gas goes out, it goes back down again.
It's a setback, but there's no time to waste. The Planet mechanics pick up the pace and get on with Plan B. A nudge from Andy's digger, and the job is done.
Good job, Mr. Barnes.
There we go! That's a proper job!
They dismantled the large bath, and a smaller round one is snapped together.
It's rain, so it looks rain.
The structural problems have been easily corrected. But Dick and Jem know the change of plan has dealt the project a major blow.
We wanted to make a gas storage tank that could power Andy's burner.
Yeah.
We ended up having to compromise on just getting the biggest one that we felt we could handle. Now we've got to cut that tank in half. I don't know if we've got a prayer of powering that grain dryer.
The inconvenient truth is that the grain dryer consumes huge amounts of fuel. But now they've only got half a storage tank, and Dick and Jem know they won't have enough gas to fire it for a useful amount of time. But the Planet mechanics refuse to give up. They're determined to leave Andy with a truly workable alternative to fossil fuels. So, is there anything else on the farm they can use to fuel the grain dryer?
We need to burn something, and it has to be convenient and easy.
And the answer might be growing right under their noses. Andy's oilseed rape. This crop is known for its yellow flower, but it's the tiny black seeds that are useful. Farmers grow it to be crushed and turned into cooking oil.
On here, it says oil burner. I was wondering, he's got that crop of rapeseed, yeah, he's got a lot of it. I know you can squeeze oil out of rapeseed, so you just squeeze the oil out of rapeseed and just feed it straight in there.
Yeah, okay, well, I think...
The idea is to make their very own rapeseed oil here on the farm. It would be a sustainable and locally sourced way to fuel the grain dryer. So Jem is using this workshop press to see how easy it is to squeeze the oil out.
Right, mate, how we doing? All right, I just thought I'd do a quick experiment to see what it's like to press it out with hydraulics.
Jem switches on the press.
Ooh, that's like pure rapeseed oil.
Extra virgin, first pressed.
The oil looks good, but there is one issue.
How much do you think we've got there, Dick? Teaspoonful?
You are joking, that's not a teaspoonful.
Okay, like half a teaspoonful.
It's clearly not enough oil. They need to get hold of an industrial press. Most are capable of making a litre of oil from every 3 kilos of seed. That means Andy's crop could run the dryer for about 30 days. Dick and Jem have found a viable, clean fuel for the grain dryer. But going down the rapeseed route leaves them with a half-built biogas plant. Unless they can come up with a new use for the gas. The Planet Mechanics' quest for a green way to power Andy Barnes' grain dryer is at a turning point. With the biogas idea on hold, Dick is searching for an industrial press to make rapeseed oil.
Look, it's an oil press, and it's continuous feed. That's 10 litres an hour, so it's taking about a third of its yield.
That's very good.
Compared to us.
Compared to us.
The press looks ideal, but it runs off a large electric motor, which means using up more fossil fuels. But Jem's had an idea.
If it can drive off an electric motor, it can drive off a petrol engine. I don't see why not. I know you can run petrol engines on propane because the conversion kits cost very little money indeed. If we can run it on propane, there's every chance you can run it on methane. And what have we just been making out there?
That would be a really neat solution to using our gas effectively.
The idea is to power the rapeseed press using an engine, which they'll convert to run on biogas.
I think we found a way of turning cow muck into oil, and to be honest, that sounds like the holy grail to me, because we convert the cow dung into methane. The methane goes into the former petrol engine that drives the press that squeezes out the oil. It's the whole lot. I think that's amazing.
Jem's eureka moment is brilliant news for the project. They now have a complete system that will power the grain dryer using resources from the farm. The grand plan will consist of 4 stages. First, biogas will be produced from cow manure in the digester. The gas will then be collected in a water-filled storage tank. Next, the gas will be piped into an engine converted to run on methane and attached to the rapeseed press. Finally, oil is generated, which in turn fuels the grain dryer. As simple as that. The Planet Mechanics are on a roll. Now they're determined to convince Andy that eco-fuels are a usable option for farmers.
Andy, this is agricultural red diesel, fossil fuel you know and love it. Right?
That's the stuff we put in the tractors.
But look at this. This is biodiesel. It's made from vegetable oil. Have a smell of that. It's got nearly the same properties.
Yeah, it smells similar, doesn't it?
Yeah. We've got to prove to you that this is as good as that.
And I've got a suitably agricultural test in mind. This way.
To show that fuels made from crops have plenty of grunt, they've set up a tug-of-war between 2 equally matched tractors and 2 reasonably matched drivers.
Keep on. Okay, hold it there, hold it there, hold it there. That's perfect. Go!
Dick's tractor is fueled with biodiesel. Andy is running on fossil diesel.